This is GARIS Masculist MGTOW flyers. That is 2-3 page essays on the themes of masculism and MGTOW, written by and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. This is flyer number 369, entitled The 3-4 Relationship, a variant of the Twaytwef, that's 2A, 2F relationship, part 2. Carrying straight on. The other major advantage of this 3-4 relationship, from my masculist perspective, is that it benefits from the absent makes the heart grow fonder phenomenon. After 3 days together, I'm ready to return to my own life, my own activities and passions, and after 4 days alone in my apartment, I'm hungry to be with her again, and the same holds for my girlfriend as well. So this regular 4 days separation each week keeps the relationship young, fresh, hungry and passionate, both emotionally and physically. I do notice, however, that when I get back to my apartment Tuesday afternoons, that I feel rather deprived, rather in a state of mourning. But it passes with a good night's sleep and a reversion to my single lifestyle the next day, when I plunge into my own activities, being much more left-brained and focused. We both make a point of being civil to each other, since a lack of civility is highly detrimental to a relationship. Women have an evolved tendency to nag their men. With full-time relationships, women get lazy and don't bother to inhibit their true negative feelings and frustrations towards their man, so often let fly with their complaints and bitchiness. Similarly with men, but men don't nag anywhere near as much as women, who evolved to be that way in order to be able to extract more resources, that is meat, from their man in prehistoric times, when the very survival of the woman depended on her man's ability to literally bring home the bacon for his woman and their kids. We both feel that it's not enough to be merely civil by not complaining, not nagging. We both try to nurture each other in our respective ways. I hate cooking, so that when I'm alone in my apartment during the 4 days apart portion of the week, I always cook up the same highly nutritious meals so as to minimize intellectual effort on thinking about what to buy in the supermarket each week and what to cook. Cooking for me is a chore, something to give minimum mental effort to, so my cooking style satisfies that need. My girlfriend, on the other hand, thank God, loves cooking. It's a creative act for her and a means to express her, in brackets, in her words, paraphrasing only a little, in quotes, motherly, nurturative instinct. So she showers me with delicious meals, which is one of the 2 main criteria in the famous slogan regarding how a woman can keep her man happy. That is,
men are rather simple. To keep them happy, all a woman has to do is to keep his stomach full and his balls empty.
Since my girlfriend has been single for decades, she is very happy to have a man and a penis in her life again. So having to wait 4 days between sessions of passion keeps her and me hungry. So that is another major advantage of the 3-4 relationship lifestyle. There is also an element of habit and hence predictability involved. With the 4 day separation, of course, the first night together is routinely passionate. It's therefore regular and hence reliable. For the man and the woman, this regularity is desirable. Unlike the full-time relationship, in which the sexual side of the relationship all too easily becomes intermittent, unreliable, dropping in priority due to life's daily preoccupations, the 3-4 relationship fosters habit and reliability. For those of you who have read/seen my flyers on my experiences that have pushed me into becoming a masculist, it is very nice Very, very nice to be truly nurtured again. I haven't really had it for several decades, so I relish it. During the year that I was living alone, I felt life was calm since I was free of the negative traits of women. But I was also rather deprived of the joyful traits of women. For example, sexual joy, women's nurturing, that women evolve to give to their babies and children, and if they choose to the man in their lives. So after a year, I felt that life was rather joyless, soulless, so felt motivated to try e-dating again. This time round, I was luckier because I found someone a lot more compatible than during my first attempt a year earlier. So I feel that I'm now getting the best of both worlds. That is, benefiting from the teachings of the Masc/MGTOWs by avoiding the negative traits of a woman, for example, the nagging, the financial crucifixion of fluffies, by fluffies, in the fluffy feminist hypocrite-controlled divorce court system, the moulding and control of a man by a woman, etc. And on the other hand, benefiting from receiving the very positive aspects that a woman can give a man, especially the sexuality and the nurturing, along with many other aspects. For example, her cooking, her beautiful garden, her strong compatibility, her shared intellectual interests, which cover history, philosophy, politics, economics, socialism, social sciences, etc. We have plenty to talk about and email about. We chat easily and readily with each other, which is one of the main strengths of the relationship. In that sense, the level of compatibility is high, which is why I feel rather lucky, since the odds of finding someone like that on e-dating sites are rather low, most people say. We swap books regularly. I feel the need to nurture her back because she nurtures me strongly. I don't want to be in debt to her that way, so I help her with, for example, tech stuff. I showed her my big screens with 4.8K resolution, which she loved, so wanted to get one herself. So I helped her do that so that she can now travel the world with a big screen, selecting YouTube videos using voice control, allowing her to select hundreds of videos in her special topics of interest, which was a mind-blowing experience for her. Her intellectual life has been transformed due to her new exposure to modern tech. She's now overwhelmed by information as much as she wants. Probably my main contribution to stimulating her is my intellectual input. I keep her awake and alive, and she says she loves it. I was a bit concerned at first about how she might react to my masculist views, so did not push them up front, but only gradually, once I felt that a fairly solid relationship had developed. I told her that she need not feel personally attacked by my masculist attacks on fluffy parasites and fluffy feminist hypocrites, since she did not belong to either of those categories. She is an NFS, that's nurturative, FIP, sage. So is the type of woman I strongly prefer. So gender political issues do not come between us. As she watches my masculist videos and sees my masculist anger, she says she's able to disassociate that anger from herself, since she says she has the evidence of how I am during the weekends. And I tell her that gender politics is not an issue between us because she does not belong to the categories of women who are the targets of my masculist anger and hatred. For example, fluffies I see as manslavers, that is, slavers, and fluffy feminists I see as indirect genociders, since they are indirectly wiping out whole populations due to their control of the divorce courts, making divorce so toxic for divorcing fathers that 2/3 of young men now refuse to marry and to have kids. My girlfriend is neither a fluffy nor a misandrist feminazi type, so she accepts and can understand the source of my anger, but can also see that that anger is not directed at her. I hope that that view of hers will remain that way. How do I see the future of this 3-4 relationship? I think the level of compatibility is the highest I've ever had, so I'm fairly optimistic that the relationship will last and be a good one. I'm also fairly confident that the very nature of a 3-4 relationship will impose both a discipline on our behaviours and attitudes towards each other, promoting civility, and foster a real joy and affection due to the absent makes the heart grow fonder phenomenon. That is the theory, and so far it seems to be working. I'm expecting it to keep working for many years, fingers crossed. I do wonder whether this new 3-4 relationship will affect my masculism. Will I continue to write masculist flyers and video them? Masculism has been a strong interest of mine for most of my adult life, so I don't see that changing. I've yet to make the big media breakthrough with masculist ideas, so when that happens, as it must, then that media exposure will galvanise my interest in the topic. Probably, as this 3-4 relationship unfolds, it will inspire me with new ideas that I can write about in a masculist context. We shall see. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo de GARIS. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. Author of the book Masculism, Men's Rebellion Against Being Manslaves to Women, an e-textbook of 360 plus masculist flyers for men's studies courses, freely downloadable in Microsoft Word format from my website. Ciao.